So impressed. I say.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer. You'll remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. At this time, we'll take public comments. Does anyone have any public comments they would like to make?
Hi, my name's Regina Kudla. I live at 120 Valley Drive.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was reading the minutes of the February 7th board meeting. And I was pretty concerned about the issue with the policing contract and the request of Sheriff Clayton that we apply for federal loans of $30,000 or federal money of $30,000, because I wonder, was he, I would be surprised if we didn't get the money, but is he thinking that that would be in addition to our portion of that millage that was passed, or would that money be then subtracted from the portion of the millage that was passed? And I am concerned about the disbursement of those funds that our citizens supported, and I really appreciate you keeping an eye on that and just following up on that and let us know what that is. And I also had a question about something in here about the supreme felons. I mean, I don't know what they are. I never heard of them before, but they sound scary. But maybe they're not. Anyway, so I think that the people of this community have been very generous with passing millages for police and fire departments. And I sure hope that we get the funds that we deserve from those millages. That's all. But like I said, I appreciate you keeping an eye on that and taking care of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this was the first year that we had to apply for a grant from the county for police services. And the grant was from the millage that was for the mental health millage and the police services. So it passed in 2018, and this is just the first year that we ever had to do it. So we are trying to get clarity on it. And when we do, we will bring it, to the public and let them know. And also we have a police services committee that's really trying to understand the actual cost of a police service unit. So we're trying to do the due diligence for the taxpayers and accountability for our community and the money that we spend. So thank you for your comment.
One thing, I'd already talked with the commissioner meeting last week.
And your name?
But just to bring it to us for our smaller area, when we had the outage.
Your name, Gigi?
Gigi Jones. I'm on Cary Drive here. There were so many elderly people that didn't want to lose their home, didn't have the funds to go to the hotels and things. And I was just wondering why, when we have all these schools and gymnasiums and libraries and different things, we're not having a system set up in advance so that there's a place for our citizens to go to in these emergency situations. Because it could happen again in the middle of the summer and it's going to be too hot for them too. That was one. And then the Supreme Felons, I'm very aware of them and know the program in depth, and I strongly support it. I love the program. I love what they're doing in our community, and it's only a positive thing, and I think it's going to work hand in hand with the way we're trying to have the police also work with mental health workers or with the community and get them more involved and close to the community. I think it's going to take all of them working together and us working with them to make our communities better.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll go on to the consent agenda. We have to remove from table the minutes of the February 7th work session and regular meeting with the changes.
So move. Support Peterson.
Motion Rose, support Peterson to remove from table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have the request to approve the consent agenda for the minutes of the February 7th work session and regular meeting, the minutes of the February 21st work session and regular meeting, and statements and checks.
So move. Support Peterson.
Motion Rose, support Peterson. Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Attorney's report?
Madam Chair, I thought my law partner might show up, but I don't see him, so I'll go ahead and give the Galt Village update, maybe in more detail. As you know, the township has been in court for a number of years with the owner and successor of owners in regards to the vacated, dilapidated, take your pick of adjectives to describe the current state of the Galt Village. We're now at a point where the court has has authorized the township to proceed with the demolition of those structures. The township has been working with a consultant to prepare the specifications needed to circulate to qualified contractors to have bids received. Those specifications were quite lengthy, probably over 500 pages, because it requires everything from the hazardous materials, how to secure the site, how to dispose of the materials, and so they're very, very comprehensive. And so there's been at least 6, maybe 7 very well-known, highly qualified demolition contractors who have submitted bids. They're in the process of being evaluated by the consultant. The goal is to have before this board in 2 weeks a recommendation as to which bidder will be awarded the contract to proceed with the demolition. The township is scheduled to go back to court next week, or I think the next 10 days, one more time, to finalize any outstanding issues. We're also looking at those large lights that are also on this site that really can't remain, even though they're not a structure per se, the lights that are on the base with the sign, Farmer Jack, or whatever it was, those need to come down as well. But anyways, we're moving forward, and it's going to be a continuing work in progress, because once those buildings do come down, we're obviously hoping that there will be redevelopment over there. That's the goal. And so I believe that it will happen. We're seeing an awful lot of interest throughout the township from any number of enterprises, and we think that will be a very, very developable site once the demolition has occurred. On a different note, earlier today, both Township Recreation Director John Hines and Elizabeth Quilliar sitting in the back, we all attended a walkthrough with Michael Cernan, the Hydro Safety Manager of the Township's Community Center, also known as Foster School. And that community center, as you know, was subject to a catastrophic water line break that occurred during the last week of December, when it was sub-zero outside, and the water ran for 4 days before anyone became aware that the water line had actually frozen, and we had quite a mess. Today we were there just to do a walkthrough with the insurance adjusters, as well as Belfour, who has been involved in the property remediation. And hopefully, the plan is that we will soon have in hand an estimate for the insurance company to pay just for the cleanup of what they've been doing, drying everything out, removing the carpet, the vinyl flooring, anyone that's ever had a water leak in their house can understand very easily how much water can be dumped out in a very short period of time. And this, again, ran for four full days. And so we're expecting to get some numbers here pretty quickly that will allow the pro shop, the golf pro shop, to be the first to get restored or remediated or reconstructed, because even though it doesn't feel like golf season for those who golf, I think within 30 days, the golf pro would like to have the shop open, and so we like to have that first in line, so to speak, followed by the remainder, which is pretty much confined in the 200 hallway, which was the dance studio and the senior activity room. Those have been moved to other parts of the community center. That is a very, very significant water claim that came about in that very last week, and the insurance company the township has through the Michigan Municipal League has been very, very great to work with. And I think, again, Michael Siernan and John Hines and all their staff have done an excellent job of jumping in to help handle this claim, because it's one that we've not seen ourselves in many years, a claim of this magnitude for the township. On a different note, we are currently also exploring whether or not it would be wise for the township to consider the creation of a township land bank. The township land, the county, Washtenaw County is one of the few counties, probably in southeastern Michigan or east metropolitan Detroit area that I'm aware of, that does not have a land bank. And a land bank would allow the township to have properties go into the land bank and then perhaps be remediated and then sold back to homeowners. And right now we're just in a very, very early stage of considering what that would look like, what it would require from a funding standpoint. But I just bring up that concept tonight because we've talked about it for a long time, especially as we see certain signs in the economy that we may be reverting back to that point that we did back in 2007 when we had a number of foreclosures. We're not there at this moment, but we're seeing some of the same type of red flags that we saw back in that time period when there are more home foreclosures that we're starting to see than we would like to. In regards to Loon Feather Park, I think we're finally at that point where that park will be open in the next 30, 45 days. That's been a very, very lengthy process to have that contractor complete those improvements, and obviously that's something that we have to follow through in order for the township to get its reimbursement. In other words, we had a 50-50 partnership with the Michigan Natural Resource Trust Fund and to put almost $500,000 into that park, and we want to make sure that we get our 50% reimbursement, but that can only come about once the park has truly been completed. And as you know, there's been a number of delays and setbacks, and so I'm optimistic that this next 30, 40 days should finalize that project. In regards to the, in regards to the previous letters I've written to the township, as well as reports I've given in regards to the Supreme Felons, I think right now the township has pretty much reached out through Heather Rowe to try and make contact with Greg Dill to have a meeting to sit down, because the township has requested that provision in a contract between the Supreme Felons and Washtenaw County, authorizing them to establish dispatch and patrol in 4 neighborhoods and zip codes 48197 and 48198, that provision be stricken. It's my understanding that the sheriff has nothing to do with that specific contract, and from the police meetings that have been held, it's my understanding that I don't think that the police support the Supreme Felons doing a dispatch and patrol system in neighborhoods either, for a lot of reasons, including liability, responsibility, any number of police-related matters. And again, we need to have that meeting. Again, Heather has reached out to Greg Deal, and hopefully we will at least have some kind of an update in 2 weeks. So that pretty much gives you a broad spectrum of some of the different issues that continue to come forward. We have a lot of very positive economic news that we'll be able to share, I think, more and more in detail in the days ahead in regards to the ongoing development on the South Huron River Street corridor. And I think it's going to be a good year, just as long as the economy does not, as long as they don't throw the economy into a recession. I think we're on the right track to see a lot of good things happen in 2023.
Thank you. Under new business, we have the request to appoint Caleb Copeland and Bianca Tyson to the Planning Commission with a term ending 12/31/2023.
So move, Peterson.
Support.
Motion Peterson, support Hunter to make the appointment. I know Bianca is here, and is Caleb? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 is request to appoint Jeff Kerner and David Marshall as alternates to the Zoning Board of Appeals with a term ending December 31st, 2025.
So move.
Motion Rowe,
Support.
support Hunter, and David Marshall is here this evening. Any questions or comments? I do want to thank everyone that applied for the positions. It's great to have people involved too, and I look forward to people, whatever we can do to be a resource for the new appointees. We're here for you. The planning director will reach out and explain a lot of the responsibilities for the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals. So thank you for, I call it volunteering, really. There is a stipend that goes with it, but people do it because they care about the community, and we appreciate you wanting to serve. We have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There's no other business before the board?
Motion to adjourn?
Motion Rowe? Support Swanson to adjourn at 7:17. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.